I have a story for you to start. When I was an intern at the women's prison, women would come and talk with me. I mean, I was their chaplain, and they would tell me, as they were telling me about the struggles and challenges they were facing, they would say that Jesus, they knew, was the solution to their problem. And when they'd say this, I'd wonder to myself, do they think that's what they're supposed to say to me, or do they really mean it? And what do they mean exactly? And then we would go to their chapel service, and all the song lyrics there and all the prayers were like, Jesus, 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 like just that word. And then they would start crying and swaying. And I was like, I think I'm missing something. I would say that to my supervisor, actually. Like, I just don't get it. Because, see, the word Jesus, it didn't mean anything to me, or at least it didn't mean enough. It didn't answer for enough, bring enough comfort or hope or freedom. I was like, Jesus isn't going to fix systemic racism and generational poverty or our broken justice system. So, where is the hope in singing about Jesus? It felt like cheap theology to me. It felt empty. I've been thinking about this experience a lot lately because I've started to wonder if we have a similar problem, except that our word isn't Jesus, it's love. I mean, love is the spirit of our church, and our mission is to unleash courageous love. We build for courageous love. We even fundraise for courageous love. Many Sundays I look out at you and I promise that there's a love holding you and will not let you go. And a lot of us have that sense that love is our purpose, like the song we sang last week, Let Love Be My Legacy. We sing about it, we build for it, and we organize ourselves around it. But when it comes down to it, what do we really mean when we say love? Is it a word that feels good to talk about, what we think we're supposed to say? But really, when you start to dig in, is it still a little empty? Over my time in the prison, I realized that for some of the women, I was right. I mean, Jesus didn't go very far. There wasn't a lot there to sustain them or to see them through. It was empty. But I also started to realize that for a lot of the other women, I was totally wrong. Behind that one word, there was actually a lot of other meaning, a promise of love that forgives unconditionally and perpetually, an abiding mercy, and a vision of God that knows pain and sacrifice and loss. I mean, knows their pain and sacrifice and loss, their struggles. A God that says, you are forgiven, you are loved, you are free. For these women, Jesus wasn't just a word, it was an experience and a promise, a commitment. It was healing and it was freedom and transformation for them and as individuals and for them collectively as they gathered. And so the challenge for us, I think, is to get ourselves into that second group when it comes to love. So that when we are orienting our lives and our church and everything that we're up to this idea of love, we make sure that what we're oriented to is not cheap or empty. It's rich and full and worthy of this kind of devotion, and that it is the sort of love that can hold us and that we can feel a part of. Which is why, as we started to think about this series, we started to think that maybe courageous isn't the most important thing to say about this love. Because I think sometimes it's hard to think of ourselves as courageous. I mean, when really we're just showing up and doing the next right thing. And showing up, as Eleanor said, that's ultimately the point. Showing up not just for a little while, but over the long haul. Showing up when we screwed up. Showing up when we need to do the work of repair and change. Showing up for ourselves and for life, and being open to change. Even more being what Octavia Butler called a shaper of change. All of this is how we ended up turning to tough love, because it is the sort of love that hangs on and participates and imagines and saves us all. Not tough like harsh, as Eleanor also said, but tough like lasting and sustaining. Tough as in throw everything you got at it, and it can take it. It can take you. Now it is, as I said, it's a long series, maybe the longest series we've ever tried. Turns out we had a lot we wanted to explore and share. And we know that in doing and offering this, we're working against all of our attention spans and all the distractions. I mean, it won't be negative 8 degrees forever. But our invitation and challenge is to really commit to this series. Put your roots down deep. So even if you don't make it on a Sunday, check out the Monday emails or the podcast or the YouTube and share what we're talking about here with others. Talk about it in your families and friends so that we can practice what we mean by this word and this idea of love. Because like the women I learned so much from in the prison, when we understand love, not just as a word, but as an experience and a commitment, a way of orienting our lives, a true source of hope and a vision for the world as it could be, it makes all the difference. I mean, we make all the difference in the smallest corners of our lives and across the whole of life itself.